Alrighty, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Todd Seidemann here. Sports Center round 3 with Todd. Hashtag let's go. I'm going to wait for a couple people to tune in here. Just want to wish everyone a happy Tuesday. I hope you guys enjoyed the beautiful weather outside today. While obviously self-distancing and keeping yourself safe, I hope everyone's safe out there. We got a couple people here coming in, but welcome. Happy Tuesday. Thank you for ending your day with me, the host, the one and only Todd Seidemann. And we are going to get started here momentarily. Before I start, I do want to show my team JCC Metro West 1996 Maccabi jacket. This is a golden right here. Very exclusive, but figured I'd put it on for tonight. It's a special occasion, round 3 with Sports Center, so why not show off a little bit of my swag here with the 96 Metro West jacket. All right, let's get into it, ladies and gents. We're going to talk a little bit about the NFL to begin. If you guys have not been here before, please comment below if you want to talk about anything specific. I am more than happy to talk about really anything. Sports is a huge part of my life, so this is obviously my favorite part of the day where we can kind of just take a break, get in the zone, and talk about something that's fun and engaging with all of you. So, real quick, yesterday I saw that the All-Decade team came out for the NFL. There weren't many surprises that at least I saw, and I think that's pretty obvious because in order to perform for 10 straight years, you have to be, as they say, a once-in-a-generation kind of guy. So there's not many people that can do that for so long. So I don't really see much debate with the results. But I'm going to go to my notes here just to kind of let you guys know who was on that all-decade team. There were a total of 53. That includes coaches as well. So let's go with the offense. Quarterback, Tom Brady, along with Aaron Rodgers, which I don't disagree. I would have picked those two as well. If it was 2000 to 2010, I would have done Brady and Peyton Manning. Obviously, Peyton Manning's time at the Broncos, he was declining a little bit after that neck injury. He had one unbelievable season, but we're talking a full 10 years. So from 2000 to 2010, definitely Brady and Manning. But guys, Drew Brees never gets the respect he deserves. I mean, right now, if you look at the record books, he's beating Tom Brady in like every category. That being said, as Stephen A. Smith would say, Aaron Rodgers is a bad man. No ifs, ands, or buts. I think people forget, from 2010 to 2017, the dude was an absolute freak. I mean, just slinging the ball in every single direction. Didn't have crazy stud receivers. Obviously, Jordy Nelson was something else. But Randall Cobb as well, throw him into the mix. He had some targets for sure, but I mean, as far as pure talent, a lot of people would say Aaron Rodgers is actually better than Brady. But obviously, if we're looking at, the rings, no one beats Brady in that category. So, Brady and Rodgers, not surprised when it comes to that. Wide receivers, you got Antonio Brown, Larry Fitzgerald, Calvin Johnson, and Julio Jones. Maybe for some of the young kids are like, well, where's Odell Beckham Jr.? But, he had like one unbelievable year. All the off-the-field issues, the injuries, maybe for the next decade, but for this one, he doesn't belong in it. I think all 4 of those are, right where they need to be, right where they belong. AB, obviously his time in Pittsburgh, unreal. Larry Fitzgerald, I mean, it's kind of like LeBron. I mean, how many years has he been in the league and he still doesn't slow down? He's still legit. And now with, D-Hop going into Arizona, I think there's going to be a lot of pressure on him as far as defenses covering him. So I think Larry Fitzgerald's probably going to have 1,000 yards receiving this year. Let's go running backs. Frank Gore, Beast Mode, Marshawn Lynch, Shady McCoy, and Adrian Peterson. I'm not too surprised with those either. Marshawn Lynch, Beast Mode, enough said. I mean, the dude ran over everyone. He was pretty much what Derrick Henry was last year for 10 straight years. Adrian Peterson, you can argue it, but he might go down as top 5 ever to do it at the running back position. There's obviously a lot of great running backs, but he definitely comes to mind when you think of top 5 running backs of all time. Shady McCoy in Philadelphia, he was unreal. They call him Shady because he was shifty, going in and out. He was breaking people's ankles, if you will. He was kind of like the Allen Iverson of of football when he was just going in and out and making defenses look silly out there. So Shady McCoy, and then Frank Gore, who doesn't get any credit, but I think this year he's like fourth or third now all-time rushing. Year in and year out, running backs get hit like crazy, man. I mean, the amount of toll they take on their body and to just keep coming. I think he's in his like 15th, 16th year, and he's still coming. He says he wants to come back for next year. So Frank Gore definitely deserves that. And then they had a flex, and they put Darren Sproles. Darren Sproles, man, how can you not like this guy? Someone being 5'8", I think they listen to 5'6", and I think that's generous. His time with the Chargers, the Saints, the Eagles, I mean, he was someone that all the quarterbacks relied on. He did everything, kick returns, punt returns, was a wide receiver, and it just shows that, guys, don't let anybody tell you can't do something. Obviously, being 5'5", 5'6", you don't expect someone to make it to the NFL, but he did, and he was tremendous. So he made it there. And then the coaches. You got Bill Belichick, obviously, and they put Pete Carroll. This was one that I think could have gone multiple ways. I think Bill Belichick, let's just end it right there. He obviously is the number one coach. Pete Carroll, great coach, great college coach at USC. Then obviously his time with the Seahawks. Should have 2 rings. We all know that. But they didn't give the ball to beast mode at the 1-yard line. I think there could be some arguments, though. You got Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh. I mean, players coach. Pittsburgh's in the playoff race every year. I think, besides this last year, they made it for consecutive years. And he's a great coach. You got a guy like Sean Payton with the Saints. I mean, they're always consistent in the NFC. I think he could have been a candidate for sure. And then a guy like Andy Reid. I know it was his first time winning the Super Bowl this year, but he's something else, man. I mean, he's always in the race for Coach of the Year. Players love him, and he knows the game. So I think he could have been another coach as well that you could put into that mix. But like I said, guys, all-decade team, you got to be special to make this. There's not that many people that can argue to be on this list, so there weren't any surprises for me. We can go into defense, but that's going to take a little while. The only one I want to mention, obviously being a Jets fan, Darrelle Revis Islands. I think it's the only one everyone really cares about. Jets, Jets, to all my Jets fans out there. So he made it. He had an unbelievable career with the Jets. Unfortunately, had to get a ring with the New England Patriots, but I forgive him. He did a lot for our New York Jets. Guys, comment below. Let me know what you think. I'm more than happy to answer any questions. Rachel Gordon, yeah, so that was the next topic I was going to go into as far as the NFL. But before I get into that, I do want to mention that, yes, everyone's talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tom Brady, the GOAT, going down south of Tampa Bay, trying to prove people wrong. Something else came up that was breaking news in Tampa Bay, and that was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers decided to change their jerseys. However, I think they came out worse than what they were. I'm not going to lie. I mean, I like to think of myself as a fashionable guy. They had some pretty fresh jerseys. I mean, if you want to, compare them to the rest of the NFL, they were looking pretty fly out there, not going to lie. They weren't winning, but they were looking good. And they decided to go back to the jerseys I think they had when they won with John Lynch and Rondé Barber back in the early 2000s when John Gruden was the coach. Not much of a difference. I mean, to make a statement and tell everyone to look out for 1 o'clock when the Bucs, get their new jerseys, I wasn't that excited. They don't look that good. If anything, you should probably go throwback and go back to those creamsicle jerseys. Those were really fly. I think the fans would have liked that. It would have been pretty cool to have Tom Brady in the creamsicles. NFL Draft. So April 23rd is when it's going to begin. If you guys are watching SportsCenter, it's been pretty crazy. General managers, coaches, front office, they're not really sure how this is going to go. And I think they're pretty nervous because to rely on the internet for all of this, as far as teams talking to other teams to develop trade talks or, putting in the card and then you make a mistake and you want to, add someone else to your team and making sure you can do that on time. A lot of things have to go well in order for this to be a success. And obviously, we are in unprecedented times and this has never happened before, so we got to do with what we have. But the talk around the NFL is what I'm hearing from Shefty and all the guys on SportsCenter is that these GMs are pretty nervous about this, and players are upset because obviously, it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to get your name called and, be in that green room and walk across the stage and shake Roger Goodell's hand. But at the end of the day, they're making their dreams become a reality. They're going into the NFL. It should be interesting. Obviously, I'll be watching. I hope you guys do as well. It starts on April 23rd and goes until the 25th. For the Jets fans out there, we had the 11th pick. I've mentioned this a couple times in my last episodes. I'm hoping we get Jerry Jeudy. He's an absolute stud from Alabama. A freak. Great hands, great route running. Can cut the top off of a defense. And losing Robbie Anderson, Robbie went to Carolina, got his money, well-deserved. But we need to replace him. I think Jerry Jeudy could be that guy. If we don't go wide out, I want an offensive line. Enough's enough. We got to protect Sam Darnold. He hasn't had a full year under his belt yet, guys. He has the potential, but he needs to play 16 games. So if we can get a big guy up front to block him and keep him in the game, you know what I'm saying? The best ability is availability, as they always say. So let's make sure Darnold can stay healthy. I'm happy with an O-line at 11 as well. For my Giant fans out there, you got the 4th pick. I'm hearing you guys want an O-line as well. Same kind of reasons. Protect Daniel Jones. The last few years, you guys have had a rough offensive line. You have the weapons. You got Ingram. You got Shepard if he can stay healthy and not develop any more concussion-like symptoms. Obviously, Saquon, absolute freak, number 1 running back in the game when healthy. So get that O-line, and you guys should be good to go as well. For anybody else that has teams that they want to talk about, I'm more than happy to, but for, our New Jersey and New York people watching, Jets and Giants, I think those are the moves you guys have to make. So that's really what I got for the NFL. I want to talk a little NBA real quick. I know there's not much to talk about. It doesn't really look likely that a season's going to happen, but they're doing some pretty cool stuff to keep people entertained. One thing they're doing is they are getting some of our superstar elite athletes to participate in an NBA 2K tournament. NBA 2K, for those of you who don't know, it's a video game. A lot of the athletes like to play it. They play with themselves in it. And they're putting it on ESPN and ESPN2. There's 16 players. They're playing, so you're watching the actual game that they're playing, but on the top right and left of the screen, you see them talking to one another. Obviously, you guys are probably thinking, I'm not going to waste my time and watch 2 guys play a video game. But the really cool thing about it is that we usually don't see players, talking with one another off the court. And I think it's kind of cool if you're a fan to kind of just see them, be themselves. I think all the time we look at them because they're on a platform and like they're superheroes, but they're just ordinary people. I think it's really cool just to see them, trash talk with one another while they're playing, just seeing how their day's going, just typical conversation. I think it's pretty cool, and you really don't get to see that every single day, with some of your favorite athletes. So, for example, they had Trae Young playing, they had Donovan Mitchell, they had DeAndre Ayton, Zach LaVine. So for the little guys who look up to these people, you get the chance to see them play the game you might play at home right now while you're home. And then also just kind of learn about themselves and their everyday life. So I think that's really cool. And then Adrian Wojnarowski also added that they're probably going to do some type of horse tournament. You're probably thinking, how can they do that? Because we want social distancing and no one together. Let's not forget, these athletes get paid, and they get paid lots of money. So a lot of them have their own private gyms, their own basketball courts. Obviously, it's going to be virtual. But imagine seeing like Luka Doncic and Trae Young play a game of horse. I mean, I don't care if it's on TV, live, whatever it is. I'm there. I'm getting my popcorn. It's going to be a show. So I'm looking forward to that. If they can do that, I think it would be great. And I think kids, parents, anybody would really enjoy that. I think there just has to be set rules. Obviously, you don't want Zach LaVine and Trae Young playing one another because Zach LaVine will just do some crazy dunk and then Trae Young obviously won't be able to do it. So I think it's just going to be strictly trick shots, no dunking. But that will be really cool, and I think something to look forward to. All right, guys, let's see. Yeah, baseball. JCC Metro West, thank you for that. So what I've heard with baseball, for people that have been watching me the last couple of weeks, baseball is not really my sport, but I want to make sure I entertain everyone that's watching here. It's super important. So they're being extremely optimistic. A lot of the other sports are saying, if we're going to do anything, it's going to be August, September, and most likely it's not going to involve fans in the stands. Baseball is pretty much saying there's a good chance they're going to be starting in May. Now, last time I checked, today's April 7th, so they're pretty much saying in the next 3 to 4 weeks that baseball is going to begin. A lot has to go, right within the next 3 weeks. It would involve no fans. It would involve all the games being in Arizona. It would involve players sitting in the stands while the game's going on if they're not on the field. Some type of computer technology and the backplate umpire being farther away from the catcher and the hitter. So it's going to be crazy. Obviously, something we've never had to deal with. So it's going to be something new. It might be difficult, but at the end of the day, I think anybody's going to watch because at this point, you just want to see some type of sports on TV. So I like the optimism and the hope that baseball has, and if they can bring something in May, that would be phenomenal. I would definitely watch, but I just don't see players agreeing to being away from their families for 4+ months in Arizona. I mean, as much as I love sports, we're in different times right now, and there's other things that we have to focus on besides sports, guys. We need to make sure everyone's healthy, everyone's taken care of, and this country can come back to somewhat of a norm, so we can continue to watch the sports that we love. If it does happen in May, great, but I just think there's too many things that have to go right in order to make that happen. But I will definitely keep you guys posted on anything I hear. Let's see here. What else do I got here for you guys? I wanted to talk about the NBA draft as well. I know NFL is coming up in 2 weeks, but I'm an NBA guy, so no matter what, I'm bringing it back to basketball. The top 5 on NBA mock draft, I'm just going to go to my notes here for a second. They have Anthony Edwards, freshman stud from Georgia. The dude's 6'5", 225. For a 19-year-old to have that body, I mean, he's NBA ready. He's going to be able to, shoot the three. He has a mid-range, and he can also, body some people in the paint with that kind of body. His physique is unreal for a 19-year-old. I think he's going to do some damage. If you put him in Golden State, I mean, please, that's going to be ridiculous. You got a guy like Obi Toppin from Dayton. No one really heard of this guy until this year. Dayton, is pretty much a mid-major. They came out of nowhere. They were going to be a number 1 seed in March Madness. Dude's a freak athlete, super entertaining, can definitely be box office material. I see him going 2. James Wiseman, guys, this was the one who, was on Sports Illustrated, was the number 1 recruit coming out of high school, went to Memphis. There were some problems there with Penny Hardaway, and I don't know if he was getting paid or whatnot. Whatever the case was, he had to leave Memphis early. Has all the upside in the world. 6'11", 240. Can play the game for sure. I mean, his first 5-6 games with Memphis, I'm pretty sure he was averaging close to 20 and 10. So he'll be up there. LaMelo Ball. I know you guys always think of Lonzo Ball and Big Baller Brand and LeVar Ball with all his nonsense that he talks about. But LaMelo Ball is probably the best one out of all 3 of them. Last time you probably saw him, he was really, really short. He's actually 6'6" right now. So a 6'6" point guard in the league is tremendous. Keep in mind, guys, he was not playing in college. He was playing in Australia. So he was already playing with real men. So he knows how it is to, play against older guys who have the experience. I think he's going to come in. If he can come to New York, I think that'd be phenomenal. We need that point guard. We've been searching for it. I think he'd be great. And then to top it off, you have Onyeka Okongwu from USC, who played with the Ball brothers at Chino Hills in LA. He's going to go in the top 5. And I wanted to put 6 because it's Cole Anthony. And they're saying right now that the Knicks most likely will have that 6th pick. So let's see how the ping pong balls roll come NBA draft lottery. But Cole Anthony or LaMelo Ball, if they're at MSG, that's going to be something special to watch, and the Knicks need something special. So let's hope that happens. Let's see here. What's going to happen with the NBA season? Yeah, so I'm not sure if you just tuned in, but right now it doesn't look too promising. I think the goal is just to try get it in before the NFL season. So I think at this point they wouldn't even go to the regular season. It would go straight to playoffs. I think it's really just the West. There's a 9 and 10 seed that may have a chance to get that 8 spot, but the East is pretty much taken care of. I think just so we can watch basketball and have something to look forward to, I say just go straight to the playoffs and take it from there. One thing I wanted to talk about, because I'm not really getting much questions here, but a pretty cool thing I saw on Twitter and Instagram today. If you are quarantining, which I'm sure all of you are now, if you're not, I hope you are, please stay safe, self-distance, and just take care of yourself. But if you could be in a house and quarantine with 4 athletes or coaches, anybody in the sporting world, who would it be? And when I thought of that question, obviously I'm sticking to basketball because that's my favorite. MJ and LeBron came up right away. I mean, 2 of the greatest of all time, people that I idolize. I love both of them. So I would definitely just want to talk it up with them and kind of just pick their brain. As an Arizona college basketball fan, I'd have to put Lute Olson in there. If you guys don't, follow college basketball too much, you probably only think of Roy Williams and Mike Krzyzewski, but Lute Olson is a Hall of Fame coach. Really brought Arizona to, an elite category when you think of top basketball programs in the country. Just to sit down with him and pick his brain as well. I mean, he's the GOAT. I've met him a couple times briefly and got a couple of pictures of him when I was a kid, but he's someone I would love to chat with. And then as far as just keeping the party alive and bringing that, silly personality and that goofiness, I have to go with Shaq. I mean, he's someone where, if you're down and lonely during these times, he's going to pick you up 100%. A 7'2" goofball who's always bringing fun and games to the mix. I have to pick him as my number 4. Who is the best duo of all time? Are we talking basketball? I see Nate Robinson, Shaq, MJ, and KG. Wow, that's great. Yeah, Nate Robinson would be awesome to hang out with. Shaq, I had that. MJ, I had. And Kevin Garnett. Kevin Garnett, honestly, was one of my favorite players growing up. He kind of reminds me, as far as like his personality and his energy on the court, a little bit of Russell Westbrook. I mean, you have him on a team, he's leaving it all out on the floor. He's giving 110%. He's got that Kobe, Mamba mentality, killer instinct. If you're on the court, you're probably scared of him. He's a monster. Going off of that, congratulations to Tim Duncan, Kobe Bryant. Who am I missing? Tim Duncan, Kobe Bryant, Kevin Garnett, and Tamika Catchings on getting inducted to the Hall of Fame. All well-deserved and probably going to go down as the best Hall of Fame class. I mean, that was my childhood right there, so that was pretty special. Let's see. So, Derek Jeter, Mariano Rivera, Bernie Williams, and Jorge. Yeah, if you're a Yankees fan, those are definitely the 4. Bernie Williams is my favorite player growing up as a Yankee. I definitely agree. Rachel, the former NFL player, is a doctor. I did see that. I'm not sure who that is, but that's unbelievable. I think the great thing about this country is, during down times, we always give it our all and always come up strong and finish strong. So for people who, that are on the front lines and people that are volunteering now to be on the front lines, it's tremendous and it makes me proud to be, a part of this country. What we do day in and day out. It just, proves that America's, the best place to be. I mean, I'm so proud to be an American. So I think that's tremendous. I'm going to go back to that duo. If you meant basketball, my lifetime, Kobe and Shaq was pretty unreal, that three-peat with LA. You can go Scotty and MJ if you really wanted to. Obviously, they did three-peats twice, 3 years, then took 2 years off when MJ went to try and play professional baseball and then came back and won 3. So, you got Scotty and MJ. You got Stockton and Malone. You got D-Wade, LeBron. You got Steph and Clay, Steph and KD. You got Tony Parker, Manu, and Tim Duncan as a trio. So the list goes on and on. Okay, so he's a Tennessee Titan. Thank you, Rachel. Yeah, like Rachel said, I think it's tremendous that people who have 2 careers and one's being put down right now for the moment due to all this is helping this country. I think it's awesome. What else, guys? What else do you got here for me? Anything you want to talk about? I am more than happy to. What else do I got here? A couple other things I wrote down just to kind of talk about. It's related to sports. Best sports movies. I know you guys are home, so I'm sure you're all over Netflix and Hulu and watching movies. A few that come to mind. One of my favorites. It was my brother's favorite, and I watch it all the time. Jerry Maguire. It's about a sports agent. It's a phenomenal movie. Space Jam was my favorite growing up. Coach Carter. Remember the Titans. Glory Road. Miracle. The list goes on and on. But for those sports fans out there, if you're bored at home and want to watch a sports movie, those are a few that come to mind that are great. So let me know your thoughts. If I could rewatch any sports game. Well, I actually just did that last week. It was the 1997 National Championship game when Arizona won it all. If I can change one sports game, it would be the 2005 Elite Eight when Arizona blew a 15-point lead with 3.5 minutes to go to get to the Final Four. I would have to say that was the worst night of my life. It was, drives me nuts. I hate it. So that would be the one I'd change. Yeah, Angels in the Outfield, another classic. So, guys, these are just some ways to kind of just keep involved with sports. Watching movies. If you go on NBA TV, they're showing ESPN Classics. I watched the rerun of the San Antonio Spurs and the Miami Heat when Ray Allen hit the game winner in Game 6, and then they won in Game 7. So there's a lot of cool stuff on. NFL Network is showing all the Super Bowls. I just watched the one where Peyton Manning won and beat Cam Newton. Speaking of Cam Newton, that's something I do want to address. Cam Newton, I think I spoke last week about how he wasn't being treated fairly for all he's done for Carolina, transcending player as far as his dual threat capability. But now he's saying he doesn't want to be on a team or doesn't want to make any, case on going anywhere just yet until maybe after the summer. And I think he just has to realize the positions he's in right now. He's had so many shoulder surgeries, and especially now not being able to get a physical and go into a facility, he's going to have to just live with, what he has. And if he is that highly of himself, he should be able to go to a team and just compete. If he doesn't think he can beat Tyrod Taylor in LA, then he doesn't deserve to start. And I think a lot of teams are starting to see that loud personality he has and what he brings to an organization. And not many teams want to deal with that. He's going to cause issues in the locker room. He's all about himself. And I'm sorry, it's just how I feel. I don't think Cam Newton gives a damn about his team. I think he just cares about himself and the money he's making and the spotlight he gets and, all the things that come with being a starting NFL quarterback. And he's showing that right now. So if I was him, listen, you're going to get an opportunity. But if you get that opportunity with the Chargers, you best believe you should be able to beat Tyrod Taylor. And if you can't, then you don't deserve to be a starter in the NFL, period. Yeah, delaying the Olympics. That was rough. I was super excited for that, but we gotta, keep out for these athletes. There's so much training that goes into the Olympics every 4 years, and they're training their butts off to make sure they can compete and represent their country. We don't want them to, compete with limited time and, perhaps injure themselves. So I think they didn't really have any other option. Any sport event that's coming up in the next 2 to 3 months, it's not going to happen. It's going to either get canceled or delayed. The Masters now isn't until November. It's just the time we're in now, guys. And trust me, it kills me because what I would do to watch a sporting event right now on TV. But it's just the times we're in. And right now, we just have to make the most of it. If you're a sports fan, Get Up with Mike Greenberg in the morning. They do a phenomenal job. Ryan Clark, Swagoo, Dan Orlovsky, they do a great job. You got First Take with the beautiful Molly Kieran Rose and Max Kellerman and Stephen A. Smith. You got NFL Live. So there's plenty of ways to keep engaged with sports. Sports Center is doing great. And I think we just all have to push through this together. But obviously doing this every week with you guys is a lot of fun. It's the highlight of my day. And I'm more than happy to entertain you guys and give you a little bit of sports topics. I got a couple minutes here, so any other questions? Did you watch Uncut Gems? No, I did not, but I definitely do need to watch that. I saw something about sports memorabilia, but I can't see what you said. I used to be a huge sports memorabilia collector. I got a couple stuff behind me, as you can see. I got a Sammy Sosa bat, a couple autographed basketballs, a lot of Arizona signatures because that's my team. Dr. J, Terry Bradshaw. So I got some pretty cool stuff. But if I think you said if money didn't matter, what would I buy? I saw something really cool at a sports memorabilia place in Livingston, New Jersey, actually. Bob Beck. Sports memorabilia. Some of you guys may know him. It's right across from Livingston Bagel. He had a signature. It was 3 athletes. It was Tiger, MJ, and Muhammad Ali. And it was 3 pictures of them together with all their signatures. And think it'd be pretty hard to top those three. So if I had to get some type of sports memorabilia, if I could combine those three and get some really cool framed plaque with some of their images and their signatures, I think it would be pretty hard to top that. Oh man, Hakeem is better than Shaq. This is never going to end. Listen, Hakeem is great. He is a Hall of Famer. He is unreal. I'm still taking Shaq. We can debate it more if you want. We need to get maybe a Facebook Live with you and me debating this. I think that'd be pretty cool and entertaining, but I'll let you stick with your Hakeem. All right, guys, that's 30 minutes. Once again, it was an absolute pleasure talking with you and talking about some trending topics in sports. Once again, this is Todd Seidemann. This was round 3 of Sports Center with Todd. # Let's Go. Brought to you by the JCC Metro West, Facebook Live, and Camp Dini Reback. I look forward to seeing you guys next week. Please stay safe. If you decide to go outside, remember to social distance. Take care of yourselves, and we will chat next week. Peace.